place where I started my career. So I feel like coming back to my mother's home. Whenever I come to IIT, I feel so. So thank you for inviting me. Thank you. And the third one is I would like to give a disclaimer. I am not an expert in precision medicine, but I have got an opportunity to talk about it. So I hope all belong to engineering domain. I don't think anybody from medical or biomedical, if that is the case, I will be in trouble. So with that note, let me start with the presentation. So I have I have planned my presentation. First, a very simple introduction to what is AI. Then we'll see about what is precision medicine. So what are the challenges in the precision medicine and how AI can be implemented or AI can be deployed for precision medicine. And finally, one small demo. And later, if time permits, I'm just planning for giving a demo on MATLAB. There are some apps on MATLAB. So AI, deep learning and image, one on deep learning and the other one on image segmentation. I would like to give a demo. That is if time permits. That will be the same. So this is how my presentation I have scheduled. So what is AI? It is not a very new term, but at the same time it is a very buzzing word, I can say. So for the past 1 decade or more than 1 decade, it is very famous, right? So what is AI? So we know this AI has some subsets like machine learning and deep learning, but basically what is AI? So it is actually we are making the machines to think like human. By thinking I mean the machines are trained autonomously to make some decision on par with humans. So whenever we are working with AI, we need to have two domains of knowledge. One is what is our data, that knowledge I should have. Suppose if I am working in signals, so I should know the knowledge about the signals. That alone is not sufficient. What type of signals I am working, whether I am working with seismic signal or I am working with some biomedical signal. So I should have that knowledge about whatever data. So whatever, now suppose if I have some knowledge of biomedical signal and just like that I cannot translate the same to seismic signal. So people working in AI or deep learning or machine learning, they should have two domains of knowledge. One is our data domain and the other one is going to be the machine learning or deep learning. It's purely statistics, maths and statistics. So I'm not going to touch anything more towards the deep learning, but most of my presentation will be on precision medicine, more of biological or biochemical terms. So let us see. Now, what is the need for artificial intelligence? So I said we are making the machines to think like humans. So in the sense, we are training or the machines are getting learned to make some autonomous decision based on some previous experiences. So what is that AI? I'll just give an example for AI. Suppose if there is any new person who doesn't know what is AI, so this may be helpful for you. So my objective is now to train the system. I'm just going to train the system to make a decision. I'm going to give some images. The system will say whether it is a tree or not. Right? Now normally how any computer-based algorithm, how this decision will be made. So that will be normally made by means of some rules. So the tree means it will have some bark, it will have some green leaves, there will be some fruits or flowers and so on. So if everything is there, it will make a decision green. Right? Just imagine if we have written an algorithm like this, program like this. It will check for leaves, it will check for bark, color of the bark, texture of the bark, everything, and some fruits or flowers, whatever it is. If I have written a program like this and I show an image like this, what decision will it make? Obviously this is a tree, but is it any, can you assure my algorithm will make a decision this is a tree? Because I was giving more emphasis on the leaves and fruits and others, but nothing is there. right? But still it is a tree. Now that is what is the procedural approach, right? Now artificial intelligence or machine learning or deep learning, throughout this session I may use these three terms interchangeably, but what I mean is deep learning, right? So now how to make it, what is, with this example, if I want to say what is AI, so what we have to do is, we have to collect some 1,000 images containing trees, all sorts of trees with green color, trees with green color leaves, brown color leaves, with leaves, without leaves, all sorts of, all possible combinations of trees I have to collect and show it to the, give it as input to the algorithm and say this is tree. On the other hand, I should also provide some more images, another set of 1,000 images which do not contain a tree, and we have to train the system saying that this is not a tree, right? So we have to train the system in such a way that give sufficient number of samples saying this is an image of a tree and this is how a tree will look like, right? Now the algorithm will do the mapping on its own. We do not create any rule or we do not come up with any hypothesis. Everything will be done. What we are providing is, I am providing a set of image and also I am providing some set of outputs, corresponding outputs. And the computer or the algorithm will make a mapping between the input and output, okay? And it will gain some knowledge during the training process. And once the training is over, whatever image I show, it will apply that training, whatever hypothesis it has done, it will apply onto that new image and it will make a decision whether it is a tree or not. Now do you understand what is the difference between the first method I said and the second method I said? First method is a procedural approach. A tree means it should be of, should have bark leaves, whatever it is, it should have thickness, barks, stem thickness, everything we have to say and compute it. With that we have to come out with an output. So in the procedural approach there will be rules and no much images are required, only one or two images is even that is sufficient. But in the data driven approach we have to give both the inputs, sufficient more number of inputs and the output, right? Just look at the first image. We are giving a data and we are feeding it a rule to the algorithm and we are coming out with the output. But on the other hand, to the AI system, I am giving an input, also I am giving the corresponding output and I am coming out with the rules. So framing the rules is different and that is being taken care of by the AI system. So this is the difference between the traditional procedural approach and the AI based data driven approach, right? So this is a very simple example for a simple and non-technical example for understanding what is AI. So there are two subsets of AI, one is machine learning and deep learning. So in machine learning, so this is an overall block diagram, there are two phases. Whether in machine learning or deep learning, we have two phases. The first phase is learning or training phase, second phase is the prediction phase. So in the learning phase, from the inputs, we will extract certain information from the inputs. And those information patterns are called features. And those features together with the, see here we are providing, this is the input images and for every images we are providing one output that is mentioned here as label, right? So from the features, you arrange the features in a proper manner and together with the feature vector, give the output, corresponding output, give it to this algorithm. So, and do some training. It is like how we are preparing for the exams. These new students are preparing for the exam. You know the question, you are given with the answers, you are preparing. So, in a similar way, the machine learning algorithm will also prepare. Train. So, once training is over, it will gain some knowledge. And then that is your training phase. Coming to the prediction phase, I give only the input image. Not only image, any data can be given. And same set of features have to be extracted. Then do the same feature, arrange it in the same form of the feature vector, give it to the algorithm. With the knowledge it has gained over the learning phase, it will come out with the prediction output. What is that output? It will say whether it is whatever label we have given during the training phase, that will be predicted classes, right? So in a similar way, machine learning will do. Now what is the limitations of machine learning? So what is the limitation is, its learning capability is totally dependent on the features I am extracting. So for every set of features I am extracting, the performance may vary. So it is not dependent on the data. Of course it is dependent indirectly on the data, but directly it is dependent on the type of features that is being extracted. So to overcome that, machine learning, deep learning is being proposed. So now just looking at the diagram, what do you infer from, what do you think is a deep learning? Suppose if you don't know, if you have not known about deep learning, so what part is missing in the deep learning block diagram? Just look at the two block diagrams and come out. What is missing? So here you have the input, machine learning. We are doing some feature extraction, separately some classification, and then the output. It is making a decision whether the input is a car or not a car. So here there is no separate block to extract the feature. So what is actually happening in the classification is, I said learning. Learning means it will find the values, correct values of the network parameters. Normally we call it as weights and biases. I don't want to go in there, right? So it is learning some algorithmic values. So that values is being learned. From how it is learning? From the features it is learning. Whereas in the deep learning, from the images, in addition to learning the classified parameters, it will also learn the features. So some people will say it is automatic feature extraction. It is actually not automatic feature extraction. Addition to learning the classified weights, it is also learning the features. That is what is deep learning. Now, this AI, if you just look back its inception or history of AI, its inception dates back to 1950s. But it was not so popular at that time. The reason, what is the reason? Then later on machine learning was also implemented, was also introduced in the late 1980s. Even then it was not so popular, but only in the current 1 decade it is popular. To be exactly from 2012 onwards it is popular. What is the reason? First thing is, to train the system we need data, right? So in 1950s or 1980s we don't have digital data, right? I remember in 2003 when I was doing my final year BTech project, there was something called a floppy disk. I don't know whether this generation of students have seen the floppy disk or not. There were two sizes. One is 144 MB and the other one I don't remember the size also. But I will protect it very safely, and when I give it to a printing, in a computer center to print my thesis, it will be found to be corrected. Right? So people belonging to our age, they may correlate it. We don't have pen drive, no frequent mails and all. Right? So what I wanted to say is, in 2003 I am saying, so in 1980s and 1950s we don't have any digital storage at all. Maybe in some countries and some hospitals or some offices, if they might have, this one computer would have occupied this room. But now everything is there in our fingers, in our mobiles, right? Even in this smartphone, smartwatches, everything is there. So just imagine the technological advancement that is beyond the scope of this lecture. So now, first point is, we don't have data, storage devices. Suppose even if there were storage devices, something to process a huge volume of data, we don't have processors to process at that point of time. But now we have the graphical processing units. Even if you don't have graphical processing unit, there are many cloud facilities available. You can do the training in the Google Colab or AWS server free of cost we can do. Right? So at this point of time, though the technology is new, not a new technology, that time we didn't have storage devices and no computational facility. It was not popular in 1980s or before that, but only now it is possible because of the storage devices and the computational facility. So let me conclude my introduction part about the AI with that. Now we'll move on to precision medicine. So in medicine, we can categorize the periods, the treatment, types of medicine in 3 eras. One is the intuitive medicine, second is evidence-based medicine, and finally precision medicine, what we are going to see. So in intuitive medicine, history goes back to 1950s or 1980s.